All right, so these are the shocks we're talking about getting, the B8's 5160 series. Now, they do come in various lengths, you know, between 2.5 lift, 4-inch lift, and I think they even offer a 5-6-inch lift. For my needs, I purchased the 4-inch fronts and 1-inch in the rear, and I'll explain why in a second here, because I am planning to upgrade the springs as well to a 3-inch lift in the front and a 1-inch lift in the back. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that all these products do not account for the Power Wagon, which already has a 2-inch front lift and 1-inch in the back. So the reality is that I'm only getting a 2-inch longer shock for the front and a 1-inch taller coil for the front, and the rear is actually going to stay exactly the same with basically a 1-inch coil and a 1-inch longer shock. Alright, first let's take a look at the old shocks that I pulled off. So there's essentially two pairs, obviously 2 fronts, 2 rears. They only vary in part number by 1 digit. It's either basically the 303s or 302s. Overall, these were excellent shocks, and they're not leaking or anything. They still are actually quite difficult to compress by hand, but they were simply worn out after so many miles. After all, you're talking about a shock that went through 160,000 miles, where most shocks would go maybe 70, 80, 90,000. You can see the blue covers. All 4 of them had it. You can see there's a little bit of rust here and there, just, you know, from me going off-roading through water and things like that. But overall, excellent shocks. Not a bad, you know, OEM part at all, but I think we can do better. So let's see if that's the case. All right, let's take a look side by side with the old and the new. This is the rear shock. Now you can see that the bushing is a little bit skinnier on the new shock. You can also see the hard mount for the remote reservoir. So on the rear shocks, you cannot mount them remotely. They're basically connected permanently to the main shock. As you go up, you can see the extra bracket. You can see the overall diameter, the overall length of the actual tube is the same. You can also see pretty much that the actual shock strut length is exactly the same as well. Again, that is because the Power Wagon already comes with a 1-inch lift in the back, and I ordered a plus 1-inch shock. So there's a clear shot from the top. Basically, they're identical, which is exactly what we want. Take a look at the front shock side by side. Here I wanted to pause to show you the mount. It has this basically clip. You can kind of move up and down to secure your reservoir, whatever you want. Now that steel braided hose is very flexible. Those banjo connections go 360 plus the hose rotates, so it's really easy to locate it anywhere you want without kinking. Now let's roll down. You can basically see the overall diameter and everything is very similar. Now you saw the top was a little bit taller and the bottom is a little bit taller on the new one. Now this is a plus 4-inch shock, as you're going to see in a second here, but the original OEM Power Wagon is a plus 2 shock. So as you can see on the left corner there, you're only getting about 2 more inches versus the Power Wagon version. So that's exactly, again, what I wanted. Here's another shot of it. Kind of gives you some idea where it's a little taller there, a little taller there, but overall it should only be about 2 inches taller than the original one. And again, that is because I'm planning to get taller springs for the front, which will actually in the end only result in a 1-inch lift in the front and 0 lift in the rear to level out the truck a little better. I wanted to show you the shocks already installed so you can get an idea. This is the only way I could find where the reservoir was safe from the tire and from all the protrusions that are coming from the axle on full compression. Like I said, that flexible hose really works well. There's no strain on it and you can move stuff around without kinking it. Here's same thing on this side, just kind of the mirror image of it. And there's a lot of things sticking out from the axle housing, so you got to be careful to make sure it doesn't puncture your reservoir. Now let's go to the back here. I'll climb under there so you can see the rear shock. You can see the rubber cover that the rear ones do have because they are upside down, meaning the reservoir is at the bottom. The rear ones, basically the external reservoir has to point to the back on the passenger side and to the front on the driver's side. Here you can see the wheel liner we're talking about removing, not the outer piece, not the mud guard, but this part right here, the actual inner one. All you're trying to do is get to that bolt there, and removing this liner gives you about an extra 1.5 inches of clearance. This is the passenger side, which is fairly straightforward. Now the one on the other side, on the driver's side, is more annoying because you have that whole fuel tank and all that other stuff down below kind of getting in the way a little more, but overall not bad. All right, just to wrap this video up, to go over the installation, overall it was very straightforward. I did not take any tires off, I did not lift the car. All I really did was take off the rear fenders just to get better access to the rear bolts. Overall it took, I'd say, about 2.5-3 hours tops. Nothing crazy, very easy to do with pretty much any tools. You do not need any special tools. It was a lot easier than I was expecting it. If you have all the hardware with you, just make sure you have it all before you begin the installation. But each shock should come with its own brand new set of hardware, and you don't really reuse anything except the bottom eyelid bolts. Everything else is new with the new shocks. Now, my old shocks obviously were still working, just really sloppy, really weak. I did not have any issues with them as far as, like I said, them leaking or something like that. They were still functional, just basically super worn out. Now these new shocks, I'll have to say, is an amazing improvement. Even leaving the actual money out of it out, let's say I paid $2,000 for this improvement, it would still be worthwhile. So that's how much of an improvement it is versus the old ones. Now keep in mind that my old shocks were OEMs, but they were pretty worn out. Maybe if I jumped from brand new OEM shocks to these, it won't be as huge of an improvement, but I feel like these are just that much better that even from new original ones, it would still be a considerable improvement. The fact that it only costs $400 more is absolutely incredible. So basically, the bottom line is this. If you're not planning to do any other upgrades as far as the suspension, you're not changing the springs or doing any kind of lifts, you need to make sure you get the 2.5-inch lift option for the front and the 1-inch lift option for the rear. Basically, that will almost exactly match your Power Wagon OEM setup, because they do come with, like I said, a 2-inch front lift and a 1-inch rear. And all those shocks, they all count from a stock 2500, not a Power Wagon version. But again, the ride quality improvement is well worth the $400. Now I will also be doing the springs as well, but I wanted to break it up in 2 separate upgrades, again, just to make sure I was experiencing each component on its own. Everything else is exactly the same with these shocks, with brand new shocks. So it was a huge improvement. Now we'll see how much more of an improvement I will get when I actually install the new upgraded softer springs as well. And that way I can tell you, hey, if the springs were really worth it or not, or if it's just the shocks that did all the heavy lifting. In any case, if you have a Power Wagon, highly recommend this upgrade. Just even if you only do the shocks, it's still well worth the extra $400. You will never regret that purchase. If you have a standard 2500, I really recommend it, because compared to a Power Wagon, a standard 2500 rides like shit. This will just make a world of difference for you. In which case, you do want to get the no lift shocks, not the plus 2.5s and ones in the back, because those are basically meant to compensate for the factory lift that comes on a Power Wagons. So keep that in mind. And the next video pretty much for the suspension will be as far as my new spring upgrade, and then we'll test it out and see how that goes.